Hi guys, welcome back to TSI. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. So one of the first videos that we all posted on here, one of the first videos that I posted on here rather, was the AK-47 versus the AK-74. And it was a fun little thing to discuss. Evan and I went back and forth, and even Scott and Joe put in their opinions. It was just a fun series. So today I wanted to actually do a different series, and something that I actually do have a stake in. Now, when I was doing the original video, AK-74 versus 47, I was kind of playing devil's advocate and everything like that. But this time I'm going to argue my actual opinion. And as you can tell, the name of this video is AR-15 versus AR-15. So what exactly is this? Well, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be referring to two different styles of AR-15, the M4 and the M16. Now, I do realize that those are military designations, and I do realize that the Army's M4 is a shorter barrel. It's 14.5, while a civilian M4 is about 16.5 or 16 inches. So let's talk about how I actually feel. Now, as you know, I am a guy that is an advocate of the 20-inch barrel. I love them. I think that they're more reliable. I think that the velocity increases, even though it's minimal when you compare to something like the 16-inch barrel. I still think it does make a difference in terms of performance. The recoil is a lot better. And overall, I just find it a much more shootable platform. Now, the one problem with the carbine length guns is that they're typically overgassed. And that's what I mean by reliability. Carbine length guns are known to actually have more longevity problems, meaning that the gas system is so rough on the parts that you have armorers in the Army actually working on them at a higher rate than something like the M16. On this channel, Evan was an armorer in the Army. And he knows that, or he has said to me in the past, that the guns that came in mostly for maintenance were the M4 because of that overgas system. And this is even worse on something like a 16-inch barrel in the civilian market. Now, I want to explain to you why these guns are overgassed, or why the M4 is overgassed. So I created a diagram. So here it is. And yes, I do realize that my two figures look like something else entirely. Don't worry, I'm aware. So basically, this is it. Now with the AR-15, the gas system is closely related to the length of the barrel and where the front sight is, and this represents the front sight. So in physics, the closer you are to an explosion, the more impact you're going to feel. So let's say here's the explosion, that's the round going off, and let's just say here's your front sight. Well, this little dude is having much more of a violent impulse than this dude out here, because the explosion is further away. He doesn't feel it as much. This represents carbine. This represents rifle length. So what that translates to in real-world application is that the rifle length system just feels very, very pleasant to shoot. It's one of those things that actually almost feels like a .22. Now, as I said before, the velocity increases between a 16-inch barrel and a 20-inch barrel. They're not super-duper impressive. They may achieve 100 feet or lose 100 feet per second between them, but in all honesty, that 100 feet per second in a .223, it might make the difference between penetration and non-penetration, or wound cavity, or any sort of thing. Another thing that I really like about the 20-inch gun is that not only is it softer shooting and more reliable, but it's actually more shootable. And what I mean by that is that the sight radius on those guns is so long that it's much easier to require the target. Now, as you know, shootability or sight length, sight radius, does not exactly increase the accuracy of the gun. It just makes it easier for a user to interface with. Now, on the AR-15, there are two apertures. You've got the small aperture, and you've got the large aperture. Nobody really uses the large aperture, so we're just going to assume that you're going to use the small aperture too. On the small aperture with an AR-15 in the M16 configuration, it's a lot easier because that front sight is all the way out. And the further you have a front sight out, within reason of course, the easier it is for the eye to pick up, meaning that you're able to do more precise shots because if it's closer to your eye, it's going to cover more of the target at greater range. Now with that particular weapon, the M16, you bring the rifle up with the small aperture, I can make that thing out really, really easily, even at close range. With the M4, because it's closer to the eye, it's harder to make out. I am not saying that the carbine length system is not accurate at all, or you can't shoot it, or it's not worth a damn. It is worth a damn. Some of the disadvantages of the 20-inch guns are as you might guess, length. But there is a way around that. If you put a collapsing stock on a 20-inch gun and you're able to balance it correctly, kind of like the gun that I showed previously in this channel when we were doing our shooting reviews and displaying our guns and everything like that, I made it have a collapsing stock. And as I said before in that video, you can actually get that thing when you collapse the stock to be not much longer than an AK-47 with a Warsaw stock and a 74 break. So you're really not gaining that much in length. Another consideration is, or a disadvantage of the 20-inch gun, is weight. It's going to weigh more than an M4. But I will remind everybody that when the M16A1 came out, it was a 7-pound gun fully loaded. So that was a very light gun. So it can be light. It can be done. Now, people have complained about the M16 in terms of combat use and everything like that for its size. Yeah, as I said, the length can be an issue. With the M4, it's a small, compact design. But that's not everything in terms of weapons. You want a gun that is going to function very, very well. And typically, I think that the M16 type weapons do in fact function well. I've seen more carbines go down than the full-length systems, just for the reasons I stated before. But there's another reason too. Because the carbine-length system was actually developed for a 14.5-inch barrel, you have now the 16-inch guns on the market, and they're really overgassed. So let's go back to our diagram for a second. Here's our diagram, our old friend. So on a 14-inch gun, let's assume that this is a 20-inch, and this is about 16 right here. So you've actually put the front sight here on the 16-inch gun. You haven't changed it from the 14.5-inch configuration, and the barrel is out here. Now when the AR-15, when the gas is coming back, past the front sight is where all your gas is going to come, meaning that you have all this gas over here coming back into the front sight and cycling the action. Now, because the barrel is a little bit longer than it is on 14.5, you're getting much more gas. So that increases wear on the parts. It also has a problem called dwell time. And what dwell time is that when the magazine spring is trying to get a new round up, the action is cycling so fast that the magazine spring may not actually have time to actually get it in there or get it up and get it ready. So that's a big problem with the carbine-length system. You can say though that you can put a heavier buffer in there to slow down the action, but it's still going to be overgassed, and it's still not going to be quite as shootable as something like a 20-inch gun. And then again, you might say that, well, I can just put a compensator on or a muzzle brake or whatever on there. You can do that. That is very, very possible. But do you really want to? In a combat situation, I would argue that flash suppression is much more important than compensation. One, because it doesn't blind you at night, because when the thing flashes like that, it's going to screw up your night vision. And also, if you're fighting with anybody in the same room, or you're just fighting by yourself, when that muzzle brake goes off, it's going to fucking destroy your hearing. It's really, really bad. I've shot with people that have muzzle brakes on their guns, and I wanted to strangle them to death. So anyways, guys, the 20-inch gun is definitely my favorite AR-15 variant. Yes, there are problems with it. Yes, there are things that could be improved with it in terms of its length and sometimes its balance. But overall, I think it's the best package that you can get. And I wanted to announce today that one of my new projects is going to be building a lightweight 20-inch gun, meaning that getting a pencil barrel with a modern twist rate and everything like that, getting a pencil barrel and making it as light as I can, trying to get to the M4 territory, or maybe even the M16A1 territory. That's going to be a really, really fun project because I do believe in the 20-inch guns. All right, guys, so let me know how you feel. Let me know how you feel about this video, whether or not you have experience with the 20-inch guns in theater or just using them in an everyday thing as a civilian. Again, I look forward to hearing about your opinions, your experiences, really anything. Just post on the comments below. Tell me what you feel. That's really what I want to know. All right, guys, this is Dave Radford with TSI. Have a good day.